and learn. The Quran, in many places, the Quran says the person who is God conscious is a person who is intelligent, not blur. So if somebody comes to you and tells you something that most likely is not true, most likely is not correct, not blur. Of course, you revert back to your teachers. And the Prophet also say that if you are learning without a teacher, your teacher will be the will be the devil. So the spouse to be Mr. Hazmi, are you taking classes?
Inshallah, teacher will take more classes.
Yes, good. Are you doing your 5 times a day prayers?
I'm trying to.
Okay. Try your very best to think that this way. What do you call it? By hook or by crook, do it. I know you're paramedic, so you can jump up. You know jump up, right? Yes. Try your best. Because you're not doing this out of fun. You know? Not doing this out of fun. You can jump up. But you cannot kasar. You know kasar, right? If 4 rakat becomes 2. Cannot because you are in the country. Yeah, put in your best effort. Never leave home. Never leave even one prayer, inshallah. Because the prayer is in the Quran and the Hadith. It is stated that when we worship Allah, and prayer is one of them, He will revert back with guidance. Yeah? I'm a divorce counselor also. And I see 95% of my cases, they don't do salah. A lot of them don't do salah. 1 or 2% that do salat, not 5. And those few that do salat, they learn without teacher. So they're lost within themselves, thinking that this is correct, that is right. Everything he makes his own decision, but a lot of it is wrong. Mostly on character. Yeah, he's being arrogant and he still doesn't know he is arrogant. Everything is correct. Yeah, so be careful. The shaitan has got lots of ways to pull the humankind to hell because he has promised to Allah. Yeah, so we need to be very much on our toes, deeply rooted to the ground while we try to strive towards Allah. In the Quran, He gives us an analogy. He tells us to be shajaratan tayyiban, the blessed tree. This blessed tree means benefiting others. You know, when you are seeing a huge big tree in the middle of a desert, can you imagine the temperature below the tree compared to outside? It's so much different. Cooling, the fruits, and the green, to your eyes and so on, it will give you that sort of peace. So He wants us to be that blessed tree, inshallah. So through learning, you will be that person who contribute goodness to others, especially to your partners, each other. Yeah. Last but not least, I'd like to remind, other than the first part which is important, which is knowledge, I hope you hold on tight to that. It's going to be difficult because there will be a lot of voices, friends, and so on that will tell you, no lah, forget it lah, next week can, next month can, about to die so can, that kind of thing. The second one is the salat. As I mentioned earlier also, that is the key. You see, if you look at the 5 pillars, you studied 5 pillars, to go Hajj is only when you have money. If not, you don't have to go. To fast, only if you have health. If you don't have health, you don't have to. The doctor tells you not to fast because of certain medication, you don't have to, you just pay fidya, pay back, pay up. Right? If you don't have money, you don't have to pay zakat. You have minimum requirement of $5,000, something to that effect. If you don't have to pay 2.5% out of it. But salat, the Prophet says if you cannot be standing, sit down and pray. If you cannot be sitting down, lie down and pray. And the salat is given to command via Isra Mi'raj. Prophet was invited personally, and there are scholars who believe that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was invited to see Allah personally and given the order. Some scholars say no, there is a veil. That's beside the point. The point is he was invited personally to be given the command to us to pray. And the rest of the Quran are all through via Angel Gabriel, giving the revelation. Right, so how important it is, so much to say about it, scientifically perfect also, when you're putting your forehead on the floor, there will be more blood pumping to your brain because the heart pumps blood, right? And through gravity, moving down to the brain. So what the blood do? Giving nutrient, giving hemoglobin, you know. So therefore, the mind of a Muslim who salat, and of course he eats properly and he exercises accordingly, and so on, he'll be very vibrant. Yeah, so Islam is extremely superb in that sense. It doesn't make you go into one corner and pray and forget about your family. He is a very balanced person. Ummatan wasatan is a middle path, extremely balanced. Islam talks about food, how to eat food, which one not to eat, which one to eat. You know, the halal food is purely tayyiban, that means goodness. Scientifically proven is better than not so, you know, because of the slaughtering the blood of leave the body and so on. Right? So Islam is not dichotomous from the reality of life. It tells us to eat with our hands, the Prophet. Do you know the benefit of eating with hands? You read something? Enzymes, yes. Will facilitate digestion. Of course, the Prophet also said, wash your hands thoroughly. So it may look like a monkey, we all eating whole licking our fingers, right? But the reality of it is fantastic for the system. If you think thoroughly compared to that fork and spoon, you don't know what the waiter has done to that fork and spoon if he doesn't like your face. Or if you make him feel a bit unhappy or whatever it is, you know. Or it could have just been washed last night and the bacteria, full of bacteria, now succumb to that fork and spoon. And that finger, that hand that you wash, you know you didn't touch anything else, and that's how clean it could be. Right? So there are many things I could say, but these are the few things I'd like to say to share with you so that you understand very clearly the reasons why things are like that. And if you ask further as to why and why, I don't have the answer. Allah knows better. It's like you are the one who created the Samsung, so you are the one who would know as to why the sound speaker here, the camera here, and blah blah blah. Right? But for sure, the operating system is applicable only to Samsung. So the same thing, Allah has created this whole thing and put Islam as the operating system, and none other. You can look around you, there's none other. I don't know what's your former religion, Buddhism, something like that. For Taoism, for example, just give me some example, not to look down upon them, but if you imagine this, if everybody were to burn papers, how much paper will be gone? Bill Gates would have bought the whole of Amazon, right? Things like that. So you can put your litmus test and see what's wrong. If you look at the American movement of, liberation,